This person is thinking a lot about the overall experience with you with this introspection card. This is somebody that it feels like is really reflecting on the fact that they feel very seen, very cared for by you, very understood, very safe in your presence. And they may have felt that like they resonated with romantic partners before, but there's never been sort of like a generosity of caring that has been extended to them from other people. Maybe that they were the one kind of doing all the giving, making efforts to be understanding, things like that. And so this is almost a sense that this person is feeling, I don't think I've ever been appreciated by another person before in the ways in which you have shown appreciation for me. I don't think that I've ever been with anyone who had the capacity for mindfulness or empathy on such a deep level as you have demonstrated to me, not as like a ploy to lure me in or manipulate me emotionally, but it's just who you are and the ways in which you've gone above and beyond kind of those qualities that come so naturally for you that they have seen in action with other people, like the ways in which you've kind of accentuated that or made a point to kind of defer to that as opposed to like leaning into the ego, or kind of just looking at things from a surface level only. It makes this person feel very special. It makes this person feel like very lucky to have encountered someone like you, not just to cross paths with someone like you, but to be somebody that is kind of entwined in an experience of romance and affection with you. There's a sense of like thinking about sort of ways in which they could as well kind of enhance qualities that come natural to them as far as emotional giving is concerned. But then there's also a sense that this person feels for the first time very comfortable just in this place of being. Not that they're being passive or they're like, okay, good, somebody to finally cater to me and be concerned with sort of how I'm feeling. But this is almost something where they're reflecting on the fact of like, I don't think I've ever experienced true balance within a partnership before. I don't think I've ever experienced a person that even thought really about my needs in ways that didn't somehow benefit themselves. And so this person is like basking in the experience of where you're at right now with one another. And this may even be a place of stillness or something where you've honored this person's like need for stillness, their need for quiet, their need for introspection, and even that act of kind of like you're sort of just in your space, you're doing your thing. There's been no kind of pressure to sort of be anything other than what they are feeling to be at this particular moment in time. It makes them feel very recognized for who they are and very comfortable with the idea of moving closer towards you, because this is almost something where it feels like a relief that they don't have to always perform, or they don't have to like feel bad about sort of like tending to their own needs, or even just kind of sitting within periods of stillness and quiet. This person in general may be just sort of like an introspective person. They could be an introvert, so they need a lot of alone time to kind of like recharge. They could be an overthinker, somebody who's, just very cerebrally based. And so, they need a lot of time kind of in their own head, in their own imagination. It's where they kind of get their best ideas. It's how they, sort of get through the day or process or unpack the nature of their day, the requirements of the things, maybe professionally speaking, or other things that they have going on within themselves or within their life. And the fact that you've honored that need for space or stillness without missing a beat, this is something that is reassuring this person that like to continue forth with you or to invest more in this connection is something that doesn't diminish from kind of what they have put in place in their life as far as systems and routines and habits and patterns that have served them very well in like terms of abundance and prosperity and wellness and their own well-being. But this is something that like you fit in very nicely with the choreography of that. Like it feels right to sort of like make space for this connection, knowing that they don't have to like abandon themselves in the process. We also have healing. So this person, it feels like, is being healed at this moment in time, in terms of maybe like a fear of commitment that had previously sort of kept them from getting too close to others or letting others too close to them. Because this is somebody, it feels like, that in the past had a tendency to lose themselves within connections, or they had like a really bad heartbreak and it took a lot to rebuild themselves. They are very protective over this version of themselves, the life that they are living, that they may have worked very hard to create, certain achievements that may have taken a very long time and a lot of determination and a lot of sacrifice in order to bring into a place of fruition. And in order to show up for those things as the best version of themselves, it requires, certain kind of activities or thought processes, or just kind of like personal time in order to kind of reset, recharge, be in the midst of their own kind of like quiet, their own internal space, so they can give their all to sustaining and kind of bringing to a place of flourishing the other things in their life that have meaning and that matter. And so, this is a sense that this person feels very validated, even, by you, in the ways in which you have recognized those things about them, or just these aspects of who they are, and it maybe even complements you. You both may be more alike than this person had sort of initially thought or had first imagined, and so it feels very comfortable, almost like the idea of two people sort of like having their alone time, maybe in a shared space, but there's like a comfortable silence between the two of you at times that it feels like is very refreshing to this person. This is an experience where it feels like they are looking forward to times where you're connecting, where there's more activity, there's more interaction between the two of you, because you've given them that opportunity to kind of like fill their own cup in different sorts of ways. And so it feels like it's a true exchange between the two of you. It's meaningful. It's not depleting them, but there's a lot of equality as far as those exchanges are concerned. And so this is coaxing this person into a place of like letting down certain barriers, letting their wall down, letting their guard down, inviting you in closer, or just kind of participating with, like, not fighting the process of how you're getting to their heart. You have managed to kind of get beyond their defenses just by being you, just by maintaining your stance, going with the flow of this situation, allowing this person to lead, even just in terms of how you're able to read their energy and make adjustments accordingly, that this makes them feel very seen, very recognized, very respected, very honored for who they are. And so the result of that is kind of like, yeah, I want more closeness between the two of us, because I see that you are someone who is good for me as a person. And so I want to, contribute as well to creating more goodness between the two of us, and building this connection into something that is healthy and something that is real. We also have a new beginning. So this person thinks of you as kind of like their fresh start in love, even if they have dated other people after they've had some kind of like major heartbreak. Again, it feels like this might be somebody that has kept others at a distance for quite some time. They may have had like casual connections, or maybe this person's been out of the dating scene for quite a while. And so the idea of kind of adjusting to life with another person, not just accountable for themselves, but like, here's this other person with their own thoughts and their own energy and their own kind of lifestyle going on, and how the ways in which that kind of correlates with them, and also your differences. It feels like this is something that for the first time in a while, this person is like excited to kind of learn and plan and strategize new ways to sort of make this work for the two of you, to fit in very well, with one another, to continue to create closeness rather than keeping this at arm's length, or kind of looking at it with skepticism or hesitation. It feels like this person as well is kind of looking at any sort of, rejection or difficulty finding someone meaningful to connect with for a while. That is starting to make sense. It's almost like they were, just sort of moving through time to this moment where now they have encountered you. If this is somebody that has been single for a period of time, they are also really starting to see the value in that, how they have changed from who they were when they were in like a previous relationship or dealing with some kind of heartbreak and kind of picking the pieces of their life back up afterwards, and maybe what a period of either being single and celibate, or even just kind of like casually dating, not really having any sort of meaningful connection, how that's really allowed this person to redefine themselves, maybe redefine their life outwardly, or redefine their relationship with themselves, do some healing, do some introspection, do some shadow work. All of that feels to be something that they are kind of having a deeper understanding or appreciation of the journey that's led them to this place, because who they are in this moment, how they're able to show up, and what they're interested in having with you moving forward, that is so different in many ways from how they were previously in loving partnerships. Maybe even kind of when they were in a period of wounding following a breakup, in the midst of heartbreak, and how they had kind of pushed love away, or the potential of love away, the potential of partnerships, maybe going through like dark night of the soul, or, having to kind of like work through certain karmic patterns, or even how they were showing up in previous romantic connections that may have just been sort of lessons, or just the fact that things didn't work out, for no reason other than they just didn't work out, and how this person, needed time to kind of like sit with that disappointment, adjust themselves to the reality of being, back as themselves, as opposed to being part of like a couple, and then moving forward over a period of time within that kind of solitary energy. This now feels like for them that this is the right moment. You are the right person to open the doors of love to, not from a place of kind of like, okay, I got to be mindful that I don't repeat the same patterns of things that went wrong in love in the past. This is not somebody that's trying to like weaponize their wounds, or even the wisdom that was crystallized out of the healing of those wounds, into something which creates kind of unfair or unnecessary kind of like parameters or conditions that you each must navigate in this situation. But this is somebody that's almost like releasing themselves from a period of needing to be very kind of like disciplined or discerning as far as like where they were giving their emotional energy to, kind of like the choices that they were making in their life in general, so that they were able to come into this place of, really kind of coming home to themselves, redefining in some sort of way, reinventing themselves as well. And so now it is this version of them that is able to more deeply appreciate who you are and what you bring to the table, not just the qualities that you bring forth, but the ways in which you hold space for aspects within this person that they have come to value, that are very important to them. Yeah, we also have inner peace. So you are this person's sanctuary, even if they like to spend a lot of time alone. They're kind of a deep thinker. They like their quiet time. They're kind of an introvert. There's the sense of almost just like being in your presence as well. It adds to that layer of calm, that zen inside, that may be an important part of kind of like reaching that center, coming back into that place of just being very much in the moment, being kind of, beyond sort of a place of the busyness of their life or their day, or, especially if they're an overthinker, the way that can kind of spiral into anxiety, or something where they get very overloaded. They put a lot of pressure on themselves. They're always trying to think 10 steps ahead. But with you, it's almost like your presence is very soft. Even if you're a very intense person, there's a softness to that that just kind of gets them very much in the moment, gets them into that feeling space. It feels right to kind of just nuzzle up to you, energetically or actually. It feels right to even just kind of sit in that space of quiet and just watch you move through the world, listen to you talk about your day, the ways in which you may be very different as far as your personalities, or, you both may have that kind of like need for quiet, and then there's more of like an active or loud aspect of you. This person feels that it really sort of, you pivot off one another so appropriately, or you're bringing to the table like exactly what it is that they need at the right time. And so it feels right. It feels very comfortable for this person to continue to explore this, to continue to be open to the experience of letting you in closer, starting to kind of direct those thoughts to the questions of, what would life look like if we took this connection to the next level? What would life look like if we were living together? What would life look like if, this is something where I just let my heart run wild, and carry us both into this new experience of partnership. So, those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.